Hey, this is Matt Cain with the San Francisco Giants, and you guys are listening to TortureCast.
You're listening to a podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants with hosts Willie Dills, Chad King, and Ben Lee.
Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Let's go Giants! SF Giants!
Dedicated to the greatest team in Major League Baseball history, the San Francisco Giants. This is TortureCast.
We're standing on top, not gonna stop. We came to play, ain't slowing down. We're here to stay, and we're stomping on whatever's in our way. I'm feeling like a giant tonight.
Welcome, everybody, to the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. My name is Willie Dills. This is episode 56, the Andres Torres episode. Former San Francisco Giant Andres Torres. Of course, I'm joined by Chad King and Ben Lee. What's up, guys? How are you?
Good, man. Welcome back.
Yeah, right? Welcome back,
It's
everybody.
always strange doing an episode without you. It's always doing, of course, after the off season, it's always strange doing an episode. So
That's
I guess
true.
it's nice to be back doing that too.
At least we're consistent, right? Like when it's the off season, we like go into hiding apparently. But,
Hibernation.
I honestly like it would be nice to be able
Chad
to
actually spends the entire off season underwater and does not come up for air once.
true.
Pretty much.
So
just feeding the fishies. It would be nice to be able to do more episodes during the off season, but it somewhat makes sense that we, kind of take some time off.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't make sense to be doing like an episode a week or every other week or anything like that for the offseason.
So this week, the Giants continued talking about potentially offering a contract to someone who we don't know.
Nothing happened again.
Someone had a birthday.
Some
Hey
people,
guys, we're here to talk about nothing happening. Let's do it.
but it's been an interesting off season for the Giants. Obviously, coming off of what you would call a disappointing season in 2013, and gearing up for 2014. We actually, I think, have gotten. Oh, we said this at the beginning of 2013. The Giants got better than 2012 in a lot of ways, and then just kind of fell short. And for a lot of reasons, I mean, a myriad of reasons. You've got obviously the Dodgers deciding to, just spend money like there's no tomorrow, and then of course the Giants running into some injury issues and some other issues throughout the season. Some players not playing up to their standards, those types of things. So. Wipe the slate clean, 2014. Now we're in the win one, don't win one, don't win one. Now we're back in the win 1 year, right?
That's right.
So,
Right.
We are the Brett Saberhagen of Major League Baseball.
exactly. So it's time. It's time.
Well, we did have Aubrey Huff on our team for a while.
Yeah. So let's jump right into this, man. I mean, I feel like it's been so long since I've been able to sit down and just talk Giants with you guys. It feels very strange to me. I feel a little disconnected, but I'm ready to get back into this. I'm ready to start going to some more games in the press box. I'm ready to watch this team do well. Spring training
Ready
has
for
started.
baseball.
Exactly.
Ready for baseball.
Especially after the disappointment of the Niners, which, we were all
Right.
pretty excited about the Niners, right? About this season, and just fell a little short. Wasn't our year.
Nope.
But
not at all.
yeah.
What
But
do
as
you
soon
do?
as soon as
Just
that
3
game
years of
was
heartbreak in a row. Whatever.
yeah, exactly. As soon as that game was over against the Seahawks, I was like, all right, dude, bring on
Baseball time.
Yeah.
bring on baseball. I don't even
Way excited for baseball.
do not care about the Super Bowl. So let's just go ahead and talk first about a couple of things that have gone on with us and the Giants. Now, I was not able to attend Media Day, unfortunately. It was very sad for me to not be able to do it this year. But
This year you played the role of Ben.
yeah, Ben, you missed the year before. This year
That's
right.
missed. But both of you guys were there. And I mean, Ben, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, because this was his first media day.
As a first timer to Media Day.
I mean, there's really no more important thing you can learn at Media Day than the old cliche, these guys are just like us. I mean, it was definitely the first time that I'd really gotten to get up close and talk to a couple of the players in a context where that was what you were supposed to do. I mean, I've gotten to talk to the players once or twice before, but it's usually while they're doing something else or,
Yeah, it wasn't weird this time. You're supposed to come up back to them.
You're not standing there in 7 pounds of Giants gear looking like a fan going, hey, you're really great and you have a thing to do later today, and I'm gonna bug you anyway. And it's
no,
it's
they're
just,
so approachable at media day. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
you just walk up and say what's up, and they're like, let's do
that's what it's for. They're expecting you to come in and ask some questions and hang out. They're expecting you to come in and ask a bunch of really specific questions, generally about whether or not they're going to suck this year. And we kind of came in and we decided we weren't really going to do that. That's really never the approach that we've taken when we've done any kind of media styled work. We don't really go in there and say, all right, we're going to attempt to ape exactly what every other journalist is doing. We go in there and Chad says, if you could change any one rule in baseball, what would you change? And I start making jokes about us finally having a huff on the team again to Sergio Romo. And, it was a lot of fun. Obviously, anybody listening who doesn't visit our website frequently, those interviews were posted on our website. So you can definitely go and take a look. But, for us, the first person we talked to was Romo, and Romo was almost like an ideal first person to talk to because he's just so easygoing.
Yeah, he's just the chillest dude you've ever met in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, and after that, it was really easy to be like, okay, cool. You know what? That went really well. So I feel good about being able to open my mouth and talk. Romo was the first one for me. Chad, actually, I guess I chimed in a little bit for Javier Lopez, and Chad was talking to Contos and Lopez before that. So it was nice, though, just because it was... it wasn't that hard to just kind of run with it after you got the first one or two out of the way and stopped going, I'm standing here talking to baseball players.
I remember that feeling as well, being the first time, and then realizing after, can't remember who we started with, Chad, the year before.
We started with Vogelsong.
Okay.
But that was that we were kind of broken in, though, because there was like 5 or 6 reporters starting around, and you asked a couple questions, I asked a couple questions. And from then, you and I kind of split up a little bit. I went to Romo. It's kind of very similar to this year, even though I did talk to Lopez and Contos before Romo this year. But Romo was just like, I sat down, we talked Niners, he was just very relaxed. And so from then on, it was just easy peasy going to Posey and Lincecum and Bochy and those guys last year because Romo really set me at ease. And that was the first time I'd really sat down with these players last year. And and after that, it was like, oh, wow, this is... Okay,
did any of the players remember you, Chad? Did any of them say what's up? Or was it...
I joked with Romo that last year I had a camera shoved up his nose.
Okay.
And so he didn't respond with I remember that. He just kind of chuckled and went, okay, cool,
everybody probably did, so.
Exactly. They're just the camera? Sure, I remember the camera.
Yeah, exactly. Like how many cameras they get every year. It's like, sure, I remember that. No.
Posey might have remembered Catch Your Face, but we weren't able to catch him, so.
That's
you weren't there to remind him anyway, so, you know.
That's right.
Okay, so let's do that. Big guys that we missed out on this year besides Posey.
Posey was one.
Pence, right? You didn't get Pence.
Didn't get Pence.
Over 2
he wasn't there for very long. Belt walked through the hallway. Posey was barely there for long. Crawford was there for a little bit, and we didn't end up catching him because we didn't want to cut in while other people were talking to him. And he was gone by the time we got back because we had got some other stuff. So we almost missed out on Michael Morse. Almost.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you guys got him because that was a really good interview as well. And
that was definitely one of my favorites.
I'm wondering if we were the only ones to ask about the
reverse home run Grand Slam.
Grand Slam, yeah. Because he seemed really excited to actually bring that story up and talk about it. Yeah. That's one of those weird moments in baseball history. It's just one of those things you see on a VHS tape of baseball bloopers or something. And it was really cool to hear his take on that. I was excited that you guys actually did get a lot of footage and a lot of stuff that I got to see afterwards because I was super bummed to miss it.
Yeah,
but that was me last year for sure. I was wait, what else do they do? Oh, this is so cool.
Exactly, yeah. But why don't you, Chad, talk about what player kind of stood out to you as because we talked about last year that Brandon Belt was just the coolest dude ever. Yeah. This year, was there any player that kind of stood out there? You're just oh my God, this guy is the man. This guy's going to be huge.
It was Michael Morse for me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we did 7 one-on-ones, and I got a lot of sound bites from Lincecum. I actually haven't posted that yet. It was a cacophony of questions firing around the room, and I filmed it, but I just hadn't edited it, put it up yet, because it wasn't, our interview per se. But yeah, Michael Morse, man. I mean, first of all, I knew he's a big guy.
He is a big guy, man.
But man, you walk in the room, and you're like, Jesus Christ, this guy's a linebacker. I mean, he is built.
He really fit on that Washington team, didn't he? They had a bunch of dudes like that. Just jacked
Jason Worth and these guys. No, so first of all, you walk in and he's an imposing figure, and then you start talking to him and he's like a freaking teddy bear. I mean, he was super happy,
the
smiling.
nicest dude.
Yeah, the nicest guy. I think about it. He was actually behind closed doors for like a half an hour doing an exclusive interview, which I guess some of the reporters are pissed about. I overheard him going, "Hey, they're not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be open door
Yeah, I
policy."
think
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just that too. They had like turned him to face one way, so they shut the door so they wouldn't see people passing behind. And it's
Right.
like you're not supposed to do that, you know.
But he was there for a decent amount of time. I'd say more than an hour, and you know, he's getting interviewed by all these people, and we're the very last ones, and he's just chipper as can be. He was happy to talk to us. He just seems like his kind of personality is really going to fit in with the Giants. And since then, been listening to a few spring training interviews, and everybody said him and Hunter Pence have a bromance going.
Oh,
like, big time.
Okay,
So
I'm
like
looking
they
forward to
like
that
clicked
then. All
day
right.
one. And they said Morse has been following Pence around like a puppy dog, just soaking everything in.
You know
So-
what that reminds me of? That's
Oh man, like Burl and
Brad Penny and Tim Lincecum.
oh.
You guys remember that?
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, that was awesome. All right, cool. That's good to hear. So before we got to get into all the other stuff,
Yeah.
but we have to talk about one very special thing that came out of this media day, which was Chad. You were talking to Matt Cain and somehow got on the subject of what you do for a living, and then this turned into something we never saw coming. So talk
not even
about
the
that a little
slightest.
bit.
completely out of left field. Yeah, it was very, very bizarre. But
Out of left field. How appropriate, Chad.
there you go. That's right. I used to do that. No, I mean, Ben was there. And for those of you who have not seen or listened to the interview, actually, this is all on the website. It's all documented. And I kept it in the,
Well, this is
in the
history.
video. That's
Yeah.
right. And so, you know,
This is torture cast canon right here.
I had to keep it in there because people wouldn't believe me. So I was like, well, shit, I got to keep this in. I got to keep this up on YouTube here. Go, yeah, see, I'm not lying, man. No, we were just talking, and
Then 2 weeks later, you have better proof than a recording.
that's
but-
right. That's right. We were talking about Pebble Beach, and I said, oh, don't worry, I go diving off Pebble Beach and find balls. You can shank one in the ocean. And he got really interested in diving. He's like, oh, man, you got to
"You
take
dive?
me out one of
You
these
dive?"
days. I was like, okay. He's like, no, I'm serious. And so I was like, okay, I'll give you my card and stuff. And we ended the interview, and he asked about, well, this isn't your day job, basically. And Ben and I were like, no, this is,
Please.
yeah, please, like us, you take us seriously as journalists, you know?
On the bright side, Chad's day job is interesting.
But it ain't journalism. It has nothing to do with it. But Ben said, oh yeah, I work at the the Apple store, but Chad over here, he like dresses as Darth Vader and goes and dives in the aquarium, and he immediately was like, what? That took him off guard. I said, oh yeah, I do the feeding shows at the aquarium, and it just kind of went from there. Over the next weekend, because I said, yeah, I do my feeding show on Wednesdays. He's like, is it next Wednesday? Yeah, what time? 11:30. He's all, I got to check my schedule. I think we can make that. And so I worked with the PR guy for the Giants over the weekend, and so he was the middleman. So he texted Matt. Matt would text him back, then he would text me, and we
this
set
is
it up.
Matt Chisholm, right?
Matt Chisholm,
Who
yeah.
has been really, really nice to us and gracious and
Totally
and
gracious and
the
just
best we could ask for. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And so he said, yeah, Matt and his family are excited, set it up. And actually the night before, he's supposed to come at around 11 o'clock. And the night before at 10:30, Chisholm texts me and he goes, hey, I'm really sorry to do this to you. And you know how like on the iPhone,
and you're like,
you
oh,
see
God,
the very
no.
first part of the text?
No.
And I was all,
cancel.
no, he's canceling. Oh, son of a bitch. But I opened
it
up
was
the
too
text
good
and
to
it was
be
like,
true.
but Matt needs to reschedule and come earlier. And I was like, wow, oh, that's okay. Go ahead. So they
worries.
showed up. They're supposed to come at 10. They showed up at 9:45, and he's just driving this big
So much
Chevy
earlier.
Tahoe. I know, so much
So much earlier.
He pops out with his
Completely
wife
inconvenient.
Chelsea and his daughter Hartley, and
We're all familiar with the wife Chelsea because of the perfect game and her actually
Indeed.
being in attendance that day and coming
Yeah.
to the dugout and all
that's
that.
right.
So,
That's right.
yeah.
Exactly.
As it happened.
yeah.
And her mother was also there, so it was a party of four, and came right
cool.
out. Me and the dive safety officer for the Monterey Bay Aquarium, welcomed, and before you knew it, we were walking through the aquarium and just chatting it up. And to be honest, he was an amazing dad. Like I don't know why, this is probably an unfair bias, or stereotype, but I always envision like athletes who earn millions of dollars to be like the kid is the wife's duty.
They
you know,
hire like some Latina.
Have a nanny walk around, or at least the wife just takes care. He had a pink, and I have it, up on the website, a pink sippy cup in his back pocket. I mean, she had a couple of horrific meltdowns because she's terrified of the word shark. And we used shark several times without knowing, and she was on the floor, and he's down on his knees, baby talking to his daughter. I'm like, wow, this is a side of Matt Cain I never thought I would see in my life.
Well, first of all, let's create a little context. You do a podcast called Kids Are Hard with your wife because
it's like, so they are.
Because they're hard.
Yeah. But you have a special, I would say that you, above all other people, as far as TortureCast hosts, have a special affinity for someone who is a good dad. Because, you actually do a show about being a dad. So I think this is actually like a really cool thing that probably you out of all of us would have noticed.
Yeah, it was really, really cool to see and kind of touching. And he was very engaged with the content. We went over to a sea otter that was under anesthesia, and they got to walk up and pet her, that kind of thing. We saw all the behind the scenes from the otter exhibit, also the new jellyfish exhibit, a few other things that I haven't even seen at the aquarium. So it was actually a treat for me. And he was just asking question after question after question. I mean, he was definitely not like, oh, I'm bored. This is stupid. This is just for my kid.
Yeah, so he was into
my wife.
That's
he was
awesome.
totally into it. And then it got to the point where it was going to be my feeding show in another hour or so. And I assumed they were going to be there for an hour or two and leave. And he turns to me, he's all, hey, you still doing your feeding show today, right? And I was like, well, yeah, but that's in another hour. I mean, you guys aren't staying that long, are you? Oh, yeah, hell yeah. That's why we came here. That's part of the reason.
Oh, wow.
I was
that's
like,
awesome.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you put the gear on, you jumped in the tank.
So, yeah,
so
I left a little
show.
early, went up top, put all my gear on, and they had just come up to the top of the kelp forest tank because they didn't watch it downstairs. It was super crowded. It was free week for Monterey County visitors or residents.
Oh, wow.
So they came up top, and so they were able to see me put the mask on. I showed Hartley the bucket of squid and fish and waved to him and did the show. They got to watch it and hear it on the monitor in the office right above the tank there. And then when I came out, I unzipped my dry suit, got down on my knee, and Hartley, I invited her to come up and actually feel how I was dry underneath my dry suit. I have all the fuzzy underwear. I said, look, it's like a big set of pajamas I'm wearing. And she got a kick out of that. And I mean, it was a really amazing experience. I stayed another hour after that. I got Matt. I asked him very politely if he wouldn't mind recording a bumper, which he did, which I'll put that in this show here.
Why not?
Why not? I'll do that.
Why not?
Gave him some underwater photos I had taken, some of my favorites as a gift. We gave him some swag. All in all, 3 hours he was there, which is way longer. They've haven't had anyone stay 3 hours before doing a VIP tour. So
that is amazing.
Overall, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And so the Giants are like, hey, anytime you guys want tickets or whatever, this was cool. Matt had a blast. They followed up and everything like that. So, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, good. I mean, first of all, I think we all know as Giants fans that Matt Cain is probably one of the most down-to-earth, cool athletes that has ever come across the San Francisco Giants clubhouse.
Possibly ever.
But, just to hear this and just get that confirmation and, it's just, we could really be proud that this is kind of one of our homegrown talents and it's just like really made a home. Like, of all the players who've come across, who have been, in the San Francisco Giants uniform, he's got to be one of the coolest guys ever. So it was really cool when I heard that. And when you told me the story afterwards and everything, and that they actually came through and showed up, it wasn't just some kind of, lip service. I mean, he was into it. So big ups to Matt Cain, man. Maybe one of my favorite Giants of all time. And this story just kind of like reaffirms all of that. So
yeah, really talk about being a big fan of his, but now it's like, all right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Who's your favorite Giant?
Yeah. Who's my favorite Giant? Okay, Matt Cain.
Let's talk about some of what's going on in current Giants news right now. So we have now crossed the first week of actual full spring training.
There's real baseball again.
Baseball
guys.
is happening. So I haven't been able to keep up with it as much as I would like to, but I know so far the Giants starting pitching has come out of the gate pretty strong, which is actually a big deal because generally in the spring, the starting pitchers get shelled, right? Like you kind of get shelled a few times. That's kind of what happens. You haven't thrown any real innings in a while. A lot of starting pitchers kind of rest their arms over the offseason. And so when they get back, there's like a big adjustment period to getting back into being able to throw and actually like get hitters out. But the Giants starters have actually given up 0 runs over 10 innings pitched. That's kind of insane, right?
It's pretty impressive.
That number's still not accurate, is it? I mean,
yes, it's accurate. 5 starters,
God.
10 innings pitched.
Wow. Okay.
No runs.
That's a big deal because I think that what the Giants have done in the offseason here is they haven't it's like it's as close to standing pat as you can do in an offseason for a team, but with these like minute adjustments that
I was going to say
really big.
it was almost standing pat except for Tim Hudson.
Yeah, well, Hudson was a big deal,
right?
Which I think Hudson, while he's not like some long-term answer in our starting rotation, he brings first of all a ton of experience. I mean, which is just insane.
Oh, definitely
for our staff, which is actually not very inexperienced anymore. We had the kind of like the young upstart staff for a while, but at this point, everybody's been around the block, right? I mean, there's not anybody in our starting rotation who's like a rookie anymore. Like we're established now. These guys are all established, but he's like the most established of all of them. And he brings that, and so he's going to help out all of the guys who are like coming up through the organization right now during spring training. And then once the season starts, he's going to be kind of the go-to guy of like, how do I deal with the situation, right? He's still going to be that guy for this team.
Right, the quote unquote crafty vet in the dugout kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I think that was a fantastic addition. We didn't need a guy to stick around for the next 5-6 years. We didn't need that. We didn't need some blockbuster deal to get, some stud who's going to be on. Obviously it would be nice, but that's not what we needed. That as a team, I think he fits perfectly. Like we get him for a year. We've got some talent in the minors that could potentially come up within the next year or two. This guy will fit perfectly for now. I'm really excited about that. So, Chad, what are your feelings about Tim joining this staff?
If he can hold, serve in terms of his performance, somewhere around floating around a 4 ERA is kind of my expectation from him.
Yeah. Well, where do you expect him to land in the rotation?
Number 4.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't. Yeah.
I think that's right. I think that's correct. I think Vogelsong is your 5 now.
Yeah, because it was going to be Timmy and Tim, as Bochy put it, that are going to be interchangeable in the 3-4 spot. Mm-hmm. And so he said he hadn't decided exactly which guy he's going to go with, but they're kind of interchangeable at this point. So,
but I feel like,
I'd still put him at 4.
Come third because I know Tim had a rough season, but he also pitched a no-hitter. We know he's still capable of what he's capable of, and
it's a crazy no-hitter, but
yeah, and obviously Matt Cain is Matt Cain.
He'll be number 2.
And then, of course, we know that now Bumgarner is number 1.
That's right.
Which is quite impressive, I got to say. And we'll talk about that more later, but quite impressive that the Giants have kind of had 3 aces over the past, 4 years with the same group of guys. It's an interesting dynamic, but
well, there's 2 things that really are exciting me about Hudson and actually Lincecum kind of being on the same team here. First of all, Lincecum actually took his off-season training seriously this year. He rented.
He did say that he did more last season than he had done previously.
Well, he had never thrown off a mound in the offseason before.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And so this year he rented a flat, a warehouse, whatever you want to call it, and installed a pitching mound and had his friends come over and just basically catch him and stand in the batter's box all offseason. And he was working on keeping the ball down, just consistently low in the zone.
Which is the key for Tim Lincecum.
Key for him, because he's lost that velocity. He can't leave it up in the waist or above. He's just going to get yanked out almost every time. Not to mention he's always
had a ton of crazy movement, and so he's got to be able to exploit that. And he's starting to do that. It seems like
make the bat longer, right? You got to have a longer bat to reach lower in the zone. And I'm also hoping that in concert with Hudson's, what do you want to call it, taking him under his wing, dishing out some advice.
Mentorship.
Because same thing, he was kind of a flamethrower early in his career with the A's. And now he's had to rely on a high 80s, low 90s fastball. He's had to learn the art of pitching over the last 5 or 6 years.
It's location now for this guy. And the thing is, what he can really teach Tim Lincecum is longevity, which is something that has always been a concern for Lincecum because of how slight of build he is. It's like he's a small guy. So that was always kind of the question mark, was how long can this guy last? And when he started to go in kind of a downward spiral, I wouldn't call it a spiral, but just, a downturn.
When things got rough.
Yeah, everybody kind of said like, oh, well, we all kind of expected this to happen because he's so small. He's not going to be able to keep this up for very long. But what Tim Hudson can do, and I think he can do really well, is maybe give Lincecum some of the techniques and the things that he's learned over time that have allowed him to be so good for so long.
Right.
And we don't need him to be an ace. We need him to be one of the better 4 starters in the league, and I think he's fully capable of that. So it's really exciting to me that addition was made, and I think he fits right in. So let's talk about the other big thing I think that's coming out of spring training right now, which is some of the bullpen guys, particularly Affeldt, which obviously we rely on quite a bit. Affeldt is one of those lefties who can pitch to righties and lefties and give us quality innings throughout a season. He's always been kind of a question mark because of health, but when he's on, he's unbelievable. So he's actually looking really good. He says he's feeling his healthiest since 2009. And these are great things to hear because the Giants have always kind of relied on a strong bullpen to get them to that closer, which Sergio Romo is now you have to consider one of the best. And Affeldt is a big key to that. So Ben, what do you feel about, like, is there another person besides Affeldt? Is he the key to the bullpen? Is he the guy?
I think it would help a lot just because we've seen Affeldt have some success before, and having him go down really didn't help us a lot. And, Lopez can't be the only lefty out of the pen. That's really not a position that you want to find yourself in, having one lefty that you can burn all game. Even if your righties tend to be effective against both sides, like matchups like Javi's are something that you save for when you really, really need them or late in the game. Having Affeldt around really increases the amount of flexibility you've got in that area just because they're two tenured, veteran, successful lefties. With Affeldt, sometimes that can come and go a little, but he's got a relatively heavy ball when he throws and when he's throwing well. The thing is, as far as, keys to it, I think the keys are really going to be some of the other fringe guys. What's he going by now? Is JC Gutierrez going to get a spot? Honestly, probably not.
Probably not, yeah. The thing is, we still got Machi, Casilla,
Hembry too.
There's Hembry and Dunning too. Dunning is probably going to be in there.
I feel like Hembry and Dunning, if they end up with the big club, could potentially be the keys to the rotation because we've gotten a lot of the other guys, and Hembry and Dunning really have this chance to either establish themselves as like top tier setup type guys or as lower end mop up type guys, and really how they establish themselves in their sophomore seasons is I think going to establish a lot of where the depth is in the pen, because if the depth moves up, floats up towards the top, and you can move guys around and you can use them with a little more just sort of spread and place them in a lot of different places. Otherwise, you get those two guys not pitching well, and it's you're not planning to call anybody up yet, and suddenly Gene Machi is your best alternate option. It's like,
well, okay, let's besides Lopez and Affeldt, is Huff our only other lefty? I think he might be, right?
Yeah, it may.
Because we got Machi.
Oh, you're challenging me now.
Yeah, we got Casilla. Wait, Kickham is a lefty, isn't he?
Kickham's a lefty.
Kickham's a lefty. Okay, but Kickham,
he's one of those like bullpen / potential starter guys. He's probably going to spend more time in Fresno.
Yeah, he's probably going to be in Fresno, and he's supposed to come up as a starter at some point. So yeah, I think we're looking at Huff as the only other lefty right now, potentially to make the squad. And Huff hasn't had overwhelming stats in the big squads. So
very true.
He's kind of he's a question mark at best. Obviously, we'd love to see him do well, but you're not relying on this guy. Which is so. Again, I think we're looking at Lopez as our loogie, which he's not technically a loogie.
It's his matchups have really borne that way a lot in the last year or two. But he also has been used
against lefties. Yeah,
he's been used so little against righties too that it's hard to know. Like it's the ultimate in small sample size, almost none.
Yeah, but I think you're looking at Lopez as kind of your loogie, and you're looking at Affeldt as your other lefty, and then you're looking at Casilla and Machi as being like your kind of like workhorses. Like these guys are probably getting a lot of innings around like 6 and 7. And then it's pretty much just Romo ninth inning. I think actually too, Romo's going to get a lot of the Brian Wilson treatment of getting 4 outs. I think we're going to see that a lot. I think I
definitely think he'll start to a little more often. Yeah.
I think we've proven that Romo can pitch a full season, and he's fine. Like, that's not really the concern.
No, health-wise, he was fine last year.
Yeah, like he's not going to burn out at the end of the year. And I remember going to those games. I went to all 3 of those Dodgers games at the end of the year, and he pitched in, I think, 2 of them, and got to save both times and looked very, very strong. So I'm not concerned at all about him. But it's really just, how do we get to Romo, and is that going to be consistent? And I don't think Casilla or Lopez are concerns at all. It really comes down to Afel, Machi, and then who is the other guy, right?
Right.
Who is the other guy? And so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. By the way, shout out to Mota. Guillermo Mota has officially retired from Major League Baseball.
Yeah, that's a strange one, but he did quite a bit, and
he's around forever. So
it was very entertaining having him on the team at times, including the slap double down the right field line.
Good on him.
Never forget
Giants' career. I mean, he obviously had the suspension, which was not that cool, but whatever. We'll forgive him. He actually, though, we talked about it on the show many times, like him compared to like Melky was like a totally different situation, and
True.
It was it actually seemed much more legit. All right, let's
definitely seemed much less like drastic and ridiculous. And
right, yeah. Let's talk about some of the big questions here coming up for this season. Now, I have a couple, and I'm curious to know what your guys' take on these are. Now, we talked about we talked about Morse.
Right.
We all can agree he's a fun guy, cool guy. Is he the answer in left field? Ben, we'll start with you. What do you think? Is he the answer in left field?
I really want to say like he's not the hero that we want, but he's the hero we deserve.
Okay.
If you look at it though, this the lineup that we have has the potential to be a very strong lineup, and the problem was people were clamoring for the one more bat in left field, but a lot of the bats that were out in left field, I mean, you put that in with the contract to Tim Hudson, with a couple of other moves that we've made in the offseason, and it's like, payroll is already one of the highest that the Giants have ever seen.
Realistically, yes. Who were we going to get, honestly? Like, who were we expected to get?
We're going to try and get Carlos Beltran to play tennis between here and St. Louis for the next 3 years. It's like, as it goes, as far as somebody to put in left field, Morris is probably not the best choice.
First of all, wait. First of all, come on, we don't want Beltran, right?
No, not really.
No Giants fan wants Beltran back.
No, been there, done that.
Yeah, been there, done that. He didn't. He kind of bailed. He kind of bailed on the team during that last half of the season, and
that's because he kept playing the magical. I'm going to float around between contending teams and always miss it.
He's going to always miss it by 1 year.
Exactly. I want to give myself that ring, man. No, you're not. But
oops.
Yeah. So, okay. What is Morse like? What is the question mark with Morse? Like, we know he's got pop. We know he's got
the question mark for Morse. I think from what I've been looking at are really going to be consistency and defense. Morse is, when he's got power, he has more power than almost anybody on the team, maybe except for Pence. Mm-hmm. It sounds, from everything that I've heard, Morse just crushes balls, and he. Obviously the side that's he's not necessarily a pull hitter. He certainly tries not to be. And he's proven that a little bit during spring training so far. The fact that of the people who robbed him, it was Josh Reddick. You don't pull a ball and hit it to Josh Reddick. He's the other way. Yeah. So, I mean, Morse has some bat control, and he's able to get some angles going. But the question is going to be, is he going to do it consistently? Are we going to get the consistent kind of production out of him that we're really hoping for? Or are we going to get something that's a little more like 230 to 250, or
well, he's gonna play, like, unless he gets hurt, he's gonna play like 140 games.
Sure, but he's not necessarily going to play all the way through all of them. That's one thing that we've been hearing, is that there's a lot of potential defensive replacement stuff going on.
Blanco comes in, and obviously. Yeah. But I mean, the thing is that I see him getting 500 at bats this season, and the last time he had 500 at bats in a season,
2011,
he hit 31 home runs. Mm-hmm. So he's obviously got it in him. and that was 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got it in him. It's just, does he do it this year? Because he hasn't done it since. So
Right.
yeah. I mean, it's basically, and the thing is too, he was playing in Washington that year, which Washington's little easier to hit a home run in. Not
by a lot.
It's not.
I'm sorry, I was thinking of Seattle.
No, it's not. It's not like the prototypical bandbox, but it's definitely
it's easier than AT&T
Park. It's not AT&T Park. Let's be honest. No other place is AT&T Park.
But I mean, conversely, last year it wasn't a full season for him last year, but he was playing in Seattle, and if there's anywhere that's almost more ridiculous to try and hit a home run, it was the old Citi Field and Seattle and Petco. So I mean,
and speaking of which, you know how many home runs he had last April?
What was that?
9.
Really?
He had 9 home runs. He was leading major leagues in home runs after April.
That is a sick start. Okay.
Now, of course, he ended the year with 13 because he got injured. Right. But I mean, this guy has shown, and it's just the injury wild card that for him, if he's healthy, he's absolutely going to be productive. He hits around 290 to even 300 when he's healthy.
His career total is 281. So I mean, that's not the issue. Like that's great.
And that's after hitting 215 last year, exactly. So I mean, the issue really is staying healthy. So if he can stay healthy, I'm not worried at all. I mean, really, I'm not, because Bochy already said.
He is like he is the answer right now.
Out of what was available, yes.
Okay.
That from the pool of talent they had to draw from, yes. And now after seeing his integration with personality into this team and how jacked he is to play this year, and Bochy already said,
which is huge.
He's treating him like Pat Burrell in 2010. And it's exactly what he's going to be. He's going to be the first 6-7 innings in left field, and in tight ball games, he's coming out.
Yeah, and as far as like a guy to do that, he's a huge step up from like Nady. You know what I mean? Like that's just like insane.
I mean, he's even a step up from Pat Burrell.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I agree. Sorry,
Burrell's like a 250, 260 hitter. No, it's true.
Well,
it's true.
Pat Burrell is Pat Burrell, and we will always appreciate Pat Burrell and wish we were him to some extent.
Yeah.
But,
every man in America wants to be Pat Burrell.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
what is Pat Burrell doing right now?
He's scouting
something
in Arizona.
better than what I'm doing. That's for.
I was gonna say whatever it is, I want it.
Whatever he's doing right now, it's better than what I'm doing. That's.
I just imagine he's like sitting somewhere eating a TV dinner, and I'm like, but you're eating a TV dinner, and you're Pat Burrell.
Yeah,
that's
and
the key.
No, he's a scout for the Giants.
No, I know he's a scout. Yeah,
but it's more fun to imagine that.
Oh, it is.
The thing is, though, Morse is obviously is a better athlete than Burrell was at the stage in his career when he was playing left field for us on a regular basis. So I mean, there's plenty of reasons to be fairly hopeful about the whole thing.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things where it's like Morse is going to have to, Morse is one of those guys that you're going to have to kind of wait and watch what you get and appreciate what you do get out of him in a way.
But if he gives us realistically, if he gives us a 275 batting average and 15 home runs and 75 RBIs, like, don't you think he fills his role? Like, don't you think he does what we needed from him?
That immediately makes him a huge step up from last year's left fielders, and that's what we're looking for.
What did we have? 5 combined home runs last year?
Yeah, we still have Posey, Pence, and Sandoval, right? Yeah. So we're not looking for we're not looking for the 4-hitter. We're not. No. That's not me.
No, he's going to be the 6-hitter.
The 6-hitter. Who also produces. So, like, when we get through the first inning with nobody getting on base, we actually have a chance to score runs in a second.
I guarantee you, if you take all of the 6 hitters in Major League Baseball, especially the National League, and you look at the average, 275, 15, 75 is going to be above the average for a 6-place hitter.
It's going to be way above the average. So, I think that's very, very realistic to get out of this guy this year with 500 at-bats. So basically, I think the key is get him 500 at-bats. Does he actually make it to 500 this year? And I think he does. I think he has a real good shot at that. Okay, second big question. Normally we only have one of these, but it's first show of the year, so let's talk about it. How many wins does Hudson get? Let's start with you, Chad. How many? Just give me a prediction, ballpark figure.
This dude.
How many wins does Hudson get in the fourth?
He is the active leader in career wins
right
now. 205 or something like that.
Yeah, which no one's ever going to get to 300 again. But
no, that's not going to happen in our lifetime.
Not very likely.
No, not unless it's really changed.
Really lucky reliever.
Start allowing steroids.
Yeah, exactly. He's never had a losing season. I don't think he's ever had below double-digit wins in his career. So I think it's realistic to say 12, 13 for him this year. And I think that would be a great year. I mean, no one gets 20 anymore. Not that we would ever expect it out of him. I'm just setting the barometer here. Like, you're elite if you're getting 17, 18 wins. Mm-hmm. And so anywhere around 12 or 13 is more than adequate.
Well, I'm looking, and it looks like last year he only had 8, but
oh, that's true. But he had his massive.
But he was
injury.
Also in the minors for a while last year. And
he had his horrific.
We actually had 2 wins in the minors, so he had 10. So
there you go. But aside from the injury last year, but anyway, he's been a solid guy. Granted, he's played for winning teams most of his career. But the Giants should be a winning team.
The Giants can be a winning team if there's every chance that they're going to be. So.
Well, he's also another thing you say about Hudson is he's had a lot of staying power with every team he's been on so far. He's been with Oakland and Atlanta. That's it. Yeah. The guy comes to a squad and the team wants to keep him, and that's a good sign. And I mean, he's had a 20-win season. He's had seasons where he finished with like 2-point whatever ERAs many times. Mm-hmm. And he's a guy that has proven that he can do it, knows how to do it. I think if you say 12, I think that's a very, very solid guess. I'm going to go with 13 just to Price is Right you.
12 and a half.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 13. I'm going to go with 13, lucky 13. That's why
13.50.
Yeah. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, man. Yeah, the thing about Hudson is it's going to come down a lot to the way the team plays, because if the team is doing what it's done in the past and tended to go into late innings a lot, then you're not going to get a lot for Hudson. But
it depends on the offense, right? Because Hudson will probably give up.
Hudson really isn't likely to be the reason that the reason that results in a lot of games.
Right, 3.5 is about right, like what he'll end up with.
I'm thinking probably a little north of that, but I mean, I'd be ecstatic if he could hold a 3.5.
But I think our offense is strong enough, especially if our previous prediction is correct. That 3.7, 3.8 means that he wins 12, 13 games, right?
Oh, I still think he'll do that, without being.
I mean, I think he's definitely going to have some games that he's just totally on, and I think there are also going to be some games where we're not sure. But it's
he's going to lose. He's going to lose a couple 2-1 games.
He keeps us in every game, though, don't you think? Yeah. I don't think he comes out and gets.
I don't think he gets shelled.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He doesn't get shelled.
Just destroyed ever. It just doesn't happen with this guy. He comes out. He's tough to hit. He always seems to hit that outside corner. He's got that low outside spot just nailed. It's just I can hit that all day. And it's something he learned in Atlanta that he took from Oakland, his insane talent, went to Atlanta and learned that Atlanta style of just I always hit my spot. That's what I do. And that's what he'll continue to do. And especially when you think Buster Posey is catching him. Buster Posey has caught a perfect game, a no-hitter, 2 World Series championships. Buster Posey's a good catcher, frames the ball right, calls a good game.
It's weird that he's got a pedigree now. You forget sometimes how long he's been with the team.
Yeah. But with Buster as your catcher, you got to think that every pitch is going to pitch above their initial skill level by just a little bit, and I think with Tim Hudson, he's already got that skill level. So you give him Buster Posey, and he does really well. So, all right, cool. Well, let's move on from the questions and let's do our armchair manager segment, which I'm actually. So this was maybe the coolest news I'd heard so far in the off season, and I mean, obviously, the signings and all that stuff is really cool, but. Bumgarner getting named as the opening day starter says several things about the Giants as an organization. First of all, it says that we reward actual on the field performance over everything else, because we've got Matt Cain, we've got Tim Lincecum, we've got
Tim Hudson. If we're talking about history being the main factor in who we decide to start for us on opening day, then obviously we've just bucked that trend. But the fact is, Bumgarner is the ace, right? So Chad, what do you think? Armchair manager, you're the manager. Do you make Bumgarner your opening day starter?
Absolutely. Before this announcement came out, first of all, I was surprised it came out so early.
Yeah.
So it wasn't I was.
It's not common that happens right away.
Yeah, I wasn't waiting for it. I expected, near the end of spring training or whatever. But absolutely, I'd thought about this, and Bumgarner's opening day. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean,
he is the guy, right?
He's the guy. I mean,
after last year, he kind of has to be.
He has to be, because you go with the hot hand. He was so consistent last year. He was by far the best starter last year. He was never blown out of a game. He's never had this opportunity in his career.
You're talking about Cy Young about halfway through the season.
Yeah, exactly. And Matt Cain,
for sure,
might have been kind of the de facto choice, if it wasn't for, him giving him the nod.
If the entire staff had imploded, Matt Cain would be the opening day starter.
Yeah, and of course we all know Matt Cain's inconsistency issues for the first half. I mean, he was absolutely atrocious. And so I think it was a no-brainer, and certainly he's not going to offend, Matt Cain. He's not
Matt Cain's Matt Cain is a team player.
Well, and this is a pretty competitive staff, but they're pretty good-naturedly competitive. They're not going to look at each other and go, "That should have been me." They're going to look at each other and be like, "I want to get where you are. Let's get on this." That's the nature of all these guys.
I guarantee you, every single person on that starting rotation congratulated Bumgarner like the day they heard that. Like there's not a single one of them who like cold
sulked and like hit off in a corner and.
Yeah, they were all into it, I'm sure.
And to be honest, it's not. I don't listen to a ton of KMBR, but I haven't heard even the insane LOL KMBR callers basically calling in, chastising this choice. I think it's a no-brainer.
No, I fully stand behind this decision from Bruce Bochy. And obviously its final decision goes to Bochy, but you know that everybody in the organization who has anything to do with what goes on the field, Sabian, all those guys, like, has something to do with this decision. But you can't really argue. I mean, the only reason he went 13-9 and not like 20-4 is because of the difficulties of the Giants as a team. The guy pitched out of his mind.
Offensive woes.
Yeah, the guy pitched out of his mind. I mean, he 2.77 ERA. He was right there for most of the season with like Kershaw as like the top like lefty starter in baseball for much of the season. And, the kid's he's got it. He's got whatever it is. And he's got that weird, funky delivery. He's got that big ass body that he just never gets hurt. Like, he's got all of that. And now he gets to be called an ace on one of the best pitching staffs around. So.
And totally deservedly, and that's really what we're getting at.
I'm very, very happy for Bumgarner, and I was really, really excited when that decision came down because, it said to me that, like obviously like Matt Cain would be like the de facto decision if it wasn't for the fact that like Bochy makes the decision based on what happens on the field, not just, well, he's the guy, he's been the guy. No, this has to do with winning baseball games, right? Like, what gives us the best chance to win baseball games, get to the playoffs, win the whole thing? Bumgarner being the number one starter makes that a reality.
Now, if it was Dusty Baker still managing, he might have given it to Matt Cain.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, we used to have Dusty, who was just so loyal.
Yep.
Just so loyal because of history, and that's what Bochy does not do. Bochy just manages the game. Like, how do we win this game today? That's what he does.
And, right. And I mean, there's a difference between being a player manager and being a manager that doesn't pay attention to what's going on the field.
And
not that I'm necessarily saying Dusty completely ignored all of that, but.
No. But you can't find a Giants player who will say a bad word about Bochy. No. Like Tim Lincecum going into the bullpen, Barry Zito being left off of the roster. Yep. Like, these things don't make anybody dislike Bruce Bochy. He somehow just manages to he somehow finds a way to keep everyone happy while making the tough decisions. And that is a really, really big skill. And he should be commended for that because it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. You got 25 guys who are big league talents and big league egos, and that none of them seem like
excepting Andres Torres.
Yeah. Well, okay, sure, but
and I realize he's not around now. But
even then, though, he still did.
That's still 20. That's still 24. That's still 24 big league egos.
Sure. Yeah. All right, so let's move on. Let's tweet at me, brah. And I'm going to start us off because first of all, I didn't realize Dan Plesac was still doing anything. I hadn't heard from this guy in a while, but I guess he's he's a reporter now.
Yeah, he's on the MLB Network. I see him all the time.
MLB Network Insider, yeah. Mm-hmm. But he tweeted out a picture of Pablo. And we'd all seen Pablo playing in Venezuela, and he looked
photos
good.
Sent by family members while he was out there and stuff like that. Yeah.
He looked good. We heard the last I'd really heard was that he'd like tweaked something, and I was a little bit concerned. But apparently he's fine. He's back, and god damn, he looks good. So the tweet is, "Okay, boys and girls, here he is, the Panda, slimmed down version. Pablo looking good at SF Giants camp in AZ." And the picture is crazy because this doesn't look like Pablo. Like this, no. I mean, obviously it looks like Pablo, but I mean, the man is great shape.
Yeah, I mean, like we're talking build more like a slightly younger Miggy Cabrera. I mean, like
this is the slimmest he's ever been in his career. Like slimmer than the whole Camp Panda thing, slimmer than he ever was, in as like a rookie or anything. I mean, he's a pretty heavy guy when he's a rookie. He's looking amazing. So this has to get the Giants fans excited to see Pablo.
Oh yeah,
taking his.
He is svelte. He's looking good, and he looks like he's happy about it. I mean, he looks happy about everything.
But yeah, it's Panda. So
he looks happy when he doesn't look like that. But that's not the point,
But it's really really cool to see the Panda actually slim down, and hopefully this becomes like somewhat of a non-issue this year. I'm so tired of hearing about Panda's weight. It's just. Can we just talk about the man who's hit 3 home runs in a World Series game, and talk about the man who was the MVP of the World Series, and talk about the man who has been one of the best third basemen in baseball for an extended period of time? Can we just talk about that guy and not like how fat or not fat he is? Like, I mean, obviously we're not, doing it right now, but but I hope we get there, right? Like, I hope we get there. I hope that the weight thing becomes like something we just never talk about anymore.
Hey, it's a contract year, so I think he was motivated by teammates. Management had done as much as they could do. They can't force him to do anything else other than, hey, if you don't lose the weight and don't perform and you're always injured, we're not going to be re-signing you to an extended, rich contract. But apparently it was guys like Posey and Pence and others who, at the end of the season, basically pulled him aside and said, hey, man, you got one more year with us, guaranteed. Do something with it.
Yeah, like let's
count.
Make it so that you end up being here for the rest of my contract, because we're gonna have Posey and Pence for a while. So I would love it if Pablo is part of that picture. So
I love the fact that his teammates motivated him to do this,
it's great.
And he's serious this year. And yeah, I mean, look, the Giants, if he had a huge year last year and he was already slimmed down, or if his weight wasn't an issue, I'm pretty certain the Giants would have done everything they could to re-sign him right now, just like they did with the other guys. But I do think that Sabian is just taking a smart approach to this right now and just saying, okay, look.
He's a question mark.
Yeah, he's let us down in the past. Let's just see what happens at the beginning of the year and just see if his performance is good right away and all that stuff. Because he's not going to be approached by anyone else until free agency at the end of the year. So the Giants have time.
No, they have the opportunity before anybody else.
Exactly, they have the entire year to extend that contract. Obviously,
I mean, we saw that happen last year. That is a practice that the Giants are in with, is giving extensions to players that they feel have actually earned them. And I think Panda is one of those guys who's fringe, who has definitely done enough to earn a potential extension, but hasn't answered the questions of, is it really a good idea yet? And I think this is his chance to not so much to prove that a contract is worth it, so much as to prove that it's a good idea.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. And I think he's definitely got the talent. He's got the ability. Now it's just a matter of him keeping this up throughout the entire season. Yep, exactly. Good stuff though. So there's another tweet here. I don't know who put this one.
Oh, this is me.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I don't know.
While you do, hold on 1 second. While you guys continue on, I'll be right back.
He's getting another beer. So I think some of the listeners out there obviously saw this happen. I think this was the very first game of spring training.
It was the first game of the season.
The first game.
Spring season.
And it was kind of funny actually, because Michael Morse didn't get his first hit until today. So and he was really happy about that. He even tweeted about it. He said, "Guess who got a hit today?" So he's been kind of engaging on Twitter. But anyway, this was back after the game in which he hit 2 home runs that would have ordinarily traveled over the right field fence if it weren't for the glove of one Josh Reddick of the Oakland Athletics. And he amazingly, I heard the second one live on radio with Dave Fleming, just incredulously stating, this is insane. I can't believe he's done it twice. And I didn't believe it myself. I was like, well, how could a guy in right field rob 2 home runs in the same game? I've never even heard of that. Like, ever. Yeah. Ever. And, of course, I go home in the evening and, late at night, I fire up the computer, and sure enough, they got video of it. 2 home runs getting robbed by Josh Reddick. So obviously, first of all, it's a good thing it didn't happen during the regular season. But anyway, after the game, Josh Reddick led off with a tweet saying, "Well, that was a fun day. Guys came out swinging it. Pitching staff threw well. Nothing too exciting." In which
Josh Reddick just really keeping it simple there.
He's trolling it there a little bit. And then Michael Morse, of course, saw that and said, "I was thinking the same thing."
Dinner on me.
And then Josh Reddick replied, "Dinner on me, brother, whenever you want." So I love to see that between the players because, again, it's not regular season. I mean, Michael Morse, after seeing the second home run robbed from him during the regular season, I mean, you have every right to break your bat over your leg, chuck your helmet in the stands, I don't know what. But this is spring training. It really doesn't matter. The Giants are just happy.
The two of them get along anyway.
Huh?
Like the two of them they get along.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. They're already buddies and everything like that. And yeah, that's been established.
But it was pretty great.
But it was really cool to see that because, look, Michael Morse is happy. He's hitting the ball that far. The Giants brass is happy. Not only see him basically go deep twice, but to right field. Josh Reddick is happy. He's robbed 2 home runs with crazy athletic plays. I've never seen 2 home runs robbed in the same game by the same guy off the same bat. That's insane.
That's pretty crazy. I know.
So all in all, it was like a win-win-win for baseball.
It was just a fun day at the yard, right?
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
I mean, it's really cool when you realize these players are all buddies with each other, and there's that kind of camaraderie, and that's pretty cool. And I mean, it's good because these guys play close to each other, and it's fun. It's fun to watch. All right, new favorite guys. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, Chad.
All right. So I've been touting him all episode because he was my favorite interview, and I really think he's fitting into this team really well. But Michael Morse, just because of his personality. And I do think he's going to bring the production that we need, especially for a 6th-place hitter. So, new favorite guy.
I can't disagree with that call, man.
Yeah, all right.
He's been one of those guys who, joined the team and similar to Hunter Pence, just found his people. It's it's so cool to see that happen. Someone comes to the team and just seems to find their place with this group of guys. So. Really, really good pick. I'm going to go ahead and go with the other guy who did that 2 years ago, and that's Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence has apparently toned down his diet just a touch because he had too little body fat with the full paleo diet. So
I wish I had that problem.
Hunter Pence problems, yeah. But so he's toned down the diet just a little bit to add a little bit more fat to his body. But the fact that that's an issue for this guy just kind of shows his dedication to being healthy. He's just such an amazing ball player and
trains by pulling cars and he's a little too thin. Needs more fat in his diet.
I love
it's not cinder blocks and designer jeans, but it's still great.
You get the feeling though that if Hunter Pence wasn't getting paid to play baseball, he would still play baseball every day. That's what you would do.
He'd still probably just do what he's doing.
Yeah,
and he's another guy with that personality too, because I mean he does those funny ass. You guys ever see that video, the Hunter Pence School of Hitting?
Yes.
Oh, that is just sweet.
Hunter's Hitters.
Yeah. Hunter's Hitters, yes.
But the fact is,
I should point out, plug for Toaster Posey, who actually helped recreate that shirt in white and blue and also in orange and black.
Oh, I didn't know that. Nice.
I am really, really tempted, but the problem is I've wanted to get a bunch of her shirts, so I have to pick one, and that's been the hardest part.
I mean, Hunter Pence getting $90 million for 5 years is just a bonus in his eyes. Willie Mack Award winner last year too. So
that's right.
Gotta love that guy. I mean, when the other guys on the Giants vote you as that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And we've seen all the other guys who have won that award and how important those guys were to the team that year. And 100%, man. So glad to have him back, and so glad to have him for the next 5 years. Oh man, so good.
This is gonna be
a lot of kale
flailing
power.
for everybody. Flailing for everybody.
We're gonna have him I mean, this is his prime, right? We're going to have him throughout his entire prime.
Oh, and I swear to God, we got to get him for an interview one of these days. Last year, I don't know how you and I missed him because I didn't even know he was there, but apparently he was there.
Never saw him.
Because I saw interviews of him, and we were standing 10 feet away. And then this year, Ben and I walked over, and he was in his room right there. He had just entered the room. There's about 15, 20 reporters, and we both said, let's go try to get someone else. And then come back here. So I went in Lincecum's room for 10 minutes, came back, and he was already gone.
Yeah, we got to get him.
Dude is elusive.
Yeah, we got to get him. We still got to talk about
Basically
WoW.
a
And I know
ninja.
the guy played WoW. At some
I know,
point,
right?
so we got to talk about that. All right, Ben, who do you got?
I'm actually going to go with one of the less known guys. I'm going to pick Derek Law, who was
He's
a
exciting.
closer for.
Very
He
exciting.
is. He is. He was a closer for High A last year, among other various stops. Mac and I talked about him a little bit on an interview, which we ought to be posting the next day or two, about Law and a couple of the other prospects, Craig and Blackburn, who really are the big names that you really ought to be watching right now, above almost anybody else. And Law is actually getting the kind of buzz where you walk around and like average fans on the street mumble things about Derek Law now, which is weird for me, because nobody did that last year or the year before, and it's kind of cool though. But Law is he's a hell of a pitcher. I mean,
Wait,
it's
where
gonna be-
the hell is he at right now? I know he's like 22,
Well,
23, right? But
he's one of the non-roster invites for spring training. Last year, I believe
he was at single A last year, right?
he was at single A and then moved up to high A. This year, we're probably looking at
No,
high A,
his
double A.
stats were sick, but I've never actually seen the guy pitch. So
I have actually seen Law pitch once, and it was pretty impressive. We're looking at probably, I'm thinking probably high A / double A, possibly with a midseason move
I'm gonna look
for him this year. So I mean, if he does end up getting put with San Jose, that's your chance. You definitely ought to get down there and try and check out a game. Law will probably be serving as the team's closer, I would guess, depending on what they do with Hunter Strickland as he's recovering from TJ.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see the contrast there. But I mean, Law's an exciting guy, and I mean, we talk about Blackburn and Crick a fair amount, but Law actually didn't start getting almost any buzz until just the tail end of last year. So he's my new favorite guy. I'm pretty stoked for him.
Okay.
As always, I've got a
Okay, it looks like last season he was at A plus. A plus.
yep. Hi.
But
As always, though, I do have
2.10 ERA, 4-0, and 11 saves and 25 innings pitched.
Yeah, he didn't come up to
45
high A until
strikeouts in
partway through the season.
45 strikeouts and 25 innings pitched.
That's
pretty sick.
Yeah.
That is pretty sick. One walk too, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's see this kid. I'm ready. I am ready. Let's see this kid. Oh man, that sounds good.
right. I do also want to give our honorable mention to Mark Minikazi. He's probably going to be one of the more fun stories of spring training.
Oh, yeah.
I don't necessarily think he's going to be a whole lot more than he may not have been a whole lot more than org filler, but it's hard to know yet. And just if you haven't had a chance to read the story of how Minikazi came back to baseball, literally picked out of the stands by the Giants staff that had worked with him previously before he kind of passed out of baseball and went to indie ball for a few years. And, you get taken down by an injury and there you go. And it's a kind of a neat sign though. He's come back, and since coming back, he's really wowed a lot of the guys that he's worked with in the org.
Yeah,
But,
he's in his early 30s, I think, right?
And he's already hit a bomb this spring.
He was playing in Nicaragua.
Yeah, he
Yep.
was on KMBR 2 mornings ago, and it was a fascinating story. I was listening to almost the entire interview. It is incredible. They're like, okay, so what happened this year? Well, I went to this team and then that team. Then I played independent ball. Then I went down to Nicaragua, and then I went. It was just hilarious. I mean, this dude has played for like 40 organizations in the last 10 years.
But somehow, though, like nobody seemed to have realized like the talent this kid has because, these
kid.
Yeah.
3 years younger
Well,
than me.
the thing
I was
is,
gonna say,
he
but I
got
mean,
drafted
like,
by the Giants originally.
yeah,
but
he was.
so yeah, my understanding was that like he was like just around, and guys knew who he was, and they were like, let's give him a shot. Like
The
that's
way that I read
basically what happened, right?
The way I read the article was essentially, he shows up at a game just to go see him in Richmond.
Yeah.
And he pays extra. I mean, minor league games aren't incredibly expensive, but still, you're paying extra to go sit up near the front. But when he sits up near the front, a couple of the guys that he had worked with before, including I think
it was Hunter
manager.
Pence.
It was.
I heard.
The manager
No.
had managed him at a different
Yeah.
level of ball.
I heard
I
Hunter
think.
Pence went and talked to him too. Like Hunter Pence knew who he was, and
He might have done that since then. I don't think that was true at this game, but literally they went up and they were like, "Well, how are you doing? Okay, well, do you want to
do you want to jump?
Do you want to give it a shot?
quick?
Why don't we,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously during a game, no, but then he ducks in. He takes a few swings in there, and apparently the hitting coach for Double A just went, wow.
Wait,
and
why is this guy not like playing for us right now? What? Why is it like Nicaragua?
How has this? How did this happen? You know. So he's back with the Giants for the moment, and we'll see what happens. I mean,
I hope that this actually turns into it, like whether it's a cup of coffee or not. I just hope this turns into something cool because it's such a great story.
Fun. It really is, and I mean, if he's able to show some flashes of power like he is now, a consistent hitting approach like it sounds like he has been, and we see that, you know, by the time September hits, I mean, there's a pretty good chance Minikaze's in AA or AAA this year, and by September, why not, right?
Sure, why not? All right,
why not?
We've loved on some guys. We loved them. It was great. It was amazing. But let's hate on some people now. It's time
to get back into the swing of things.
To hate this guy. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and start us off. I'm going to go ahead and hate on Eric Sogard. I'm sorry. I mean, I think he's a great guy. I don't actually hate him, but somehow in that face of the MLB bull crap, he got voted above Buster Posey, which is just crap. I mean, come on. That is absolute crap.
Well, he won every bracket all the way to the finals.
I know, he went to the finals. I mean, okay, clearly there's like a bunch. There's like some dude who's a fan of the A's who just like hacked into the system or something. But the guy's played, 3 years, 1.5 years total of like games, and sure, he's fine, nothing wrong with him. But we're talking Buster Posey, and like,
it was
All right.
It was a mockery. I mean, it really was. And I don't know.
That whole thing was stupid. I mean, David Wright won it, and David Wright's obviously a great player.
Barely.
But come on. Really?
51 to 49, yeah.
So stupid. Just so stupid. And like there's better guys on the A's I would choose. Like it was like really so
Yeah, Josh Donaldson, Josh Reddick. I mean, you can start going down the list, yeah. I mean, but he's got that whole little cult following of nerd power and all that stuff.
I know, yeah. He's got the nerdy look to him and all that
So
stuff.
I think you're right. I think it was some other nerd that ended up,
yeah, exactly.
hacking in and
That's what it was, right? It was somebody who hacked into the system and like hooked it up.
I just don't believe that. I have a hard time believing because I know the Giants fan base is larger than the A's fan base. We know this.
Sure, we know this.
That's just a fact. Second of all, Giants fans had enough power to ascend guys like Brandon Crawford to the second highest vote totals for shortstop and get a couple guys on the team. If Giants fans can do that for the All-Star game, which is way more high profile than this sucker, plus you're battling against all the other teams, maybe the fans didn't give a crap about this, but I saw a lot of action on Twitter. But I do believe that I don't believe it's the A's fan base independently that did this, like fan 1 through fan 1,000.
I mean, their organizing definitely had to contribute, and there was a lot of buzz about it. So, credit to them for getting behind their guy. But I get what you're getting at.
Yeah.
But it was just silly. I mean,
Sogard, not the face of the MLB.
I tried to crack a lot of jokes from the Torture Cast account, but one of them was like, yes, because the face of the MLB should be a 9th place hitter. I mean, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I know. A 9th place hitter in the AL. Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's cool. I've forgiven you, Sogard, but come on. Stupid. All right, what else we got? Oh, Ben, you got someone to hate on?
I just feel like there's been I'm hitting on a bunch of people, but I'm going to do it in a broad category. I don't have a big one to list out.
Lump them together, man.
I'm just going to all y'all. There have been a couple of good articles lately about how the NFL and other organizations have kind of just overlooked violence, especially violence against women, and it's just kind of it's a thing that they just kind of say, oh yeah, that's fine, but this guy can still be here. That whole idea that if you for the longest time, the idea was if you do drugs, if you drive drunk, if you get people hurt, if you carry and shoot guns, if you hurt or rape women, that's cool. You can keep coming back, but don't be gay. Don't you dare be gay.
It's pretty lame. Yeah.
This idea of just all the stuff that we just kind of overlook. So since I don't have a specific dude to hate on right now,
murdering people. That's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
No big. Yeah, no, you can. But it's cool. Can you still play safety?
You have sex with Ben? No, never mind. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. I can't handle that.
Yeah.
And just that idea, I think, is just it's been bugging me lately. And since I don't have anybody specific that I really want to hate on this week, I'm just going to go for the whole category. Try me again next week. Maybe I'll have somebody specific in mind. But
that's fine.
I ain't there yet.
I'm on board.
I'm just hate on a bunch of people.
Nah, after the whole.
I'm just raining hate down all across the bureaucracy and front offices of the.
Yeah.
Take all the hate. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I hear some of the excuses, and I think it could be homophobia hiding behind another excuse. But I've heard the whole, I'm not homophobic, but I'm telling you, that's going to be such a huge distraction for the front office that's the reason that they're not going to sign him, or that's the reason they're going to draft him lower. Sure. It's like, yeah, no.
It's not the reason. It's
not the reason.
It's because you think it's icky, and that's stupid.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's like, a distraction, and okay, Michael Vick and Ray Lewis and all these other, and come on, what the hell?
I'm going to say this though right now. There's going to be one. There's going to be one general manager in football who can just shove it in everyone else's asses when he just drafts Michael Sam in the first round. One guy should just do it.
I'm not sure that was the best way to put it regarding this subject, but I
biting my tongue.
You know what I'm saying?
Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I said it that way on purpose. But the fact is that it's just there is an opportunity here for somebody to show everybody that doesn't matter to them.
Mm-hmm.
And once somebody stands up and says that doesn't matter to me, like the Brooklyn general manager, going ahead and putting a gay basketball player back on the team who'd come out and then not played, that kind of stuff, that needs to happen a lot of times before it just becomes a non-issue. But there's an opportunity there. So. And where's our gay baseball player, by the way, too?
They're out there.
I know they are, but I guess whatever. We'll let them do that on their own time. It's every gay man or gay woman gets to decide when and where they do that. So we won't ask for that to happen. We'll just say that when they do, TortureCast will support them.
Well, I don't want to get political or anything here, but that whole Arizona law that was vetoed, thank God. I was actually thinking about it the other day, and I was like, okay, well, back in the day when there was segregation and all that, and they said, whites in the front and blacks have to go in the back, and okay, well, when someone came in the door, you could tell if they were white or black for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Not always, but certainly
not always.
There was you were going to have a much higher degree of accuracy.
Exactly. With this thing, if that had actually gone in, how are they going to tell? How many times you said fabulous? I mean, what was their barometer?
Yeah.
What's amazing to me is
it was incredible to me that they were even considering that.
Because on the one hand, that forces somebody into hiding, which is terrible.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, that forces you to begin evaluating with a huge series of stereotypes to figure out whether or not somebody is or isn't, and that's also terrible.
Yeah, no, you have to. Whole, people the fact that gaydar is a thing, that people think that they can tell that someone is gay, even the fact that is a thing,
right?
And that's not even a taboo to say oh, I have really good gaydar. That's not even a thing people get what are you talking about? Because there's no way that you just know whatever. You just don't. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
And this one thing never defines anybody ever, and everyone needs to just let that go.
Hilarious.
It just needs to stop. It needs to stop being a thing that we care about. All right, anyway, let's move on. Why we will win it all.
It's nice to be back around to the optimistic side of the season again. This is great.
You know what, though? We're going to win it all, you guys.
Nice to do this.
I just want to know why.
Yeah.
We are. I just want to know why.
Why do you think?
Well, I'll start us off. The fact that Bumgarner's getting the opening day start clearly means, and we already knew this, but it's just another indication, that Bochy doesn't play favorites. He manages his baseball team to win games. And Bochy's going to manage that way the entire time he is the manager of the Giants. Any other team he moves on to at some point, I hope he never does. I hope he's just the manager of the Giants until he retires. But basically, that's who we have running the ship right now. That is our captain. That is the man who is pulling the strings, and he makes his decisions based on who's going to win that ball game that day. And he's going to do that 162 times this year. And at the end of all that, I think we're going to play, another 20 or so games, and we're going to win it all. There you go. Boom. Chad?
So Tim Hudson, I'm looking at his stats right here. I thought it was only one season, but he's actually had 2 seasons where his ERA has been above 4. Ironically, one of them was during his 21 season in Oakland.
God damn it, trade him.
Anyway.
Trade him right now.
He does have a career 3.44 ERA. He hasn't had anything over a 4 ERA since 2006. So I think if both Timmies can post sub-4 ERAs, they're a lock. They're a lock to win the West. I mean, Timmy has a 4.3 something last year.
Yeah.
He improves that just by 3-4 tenths of a run. And by all indications so far, even the reporters are saying he's got a lot of pop on his fastball. It's not faster. It's just being located much better.
Doesn't need to be faster.
Exactly. He's keeping things down. So if he can develop that into not exploding like he did in the first half of last year, where his ERA was north of 6 after the first couple of months, which is still crazy to think that it was there,
so
but it was.
Weird, right? Yeah.
Right. If he can keep that down, you immediately eliminate a few losses right off the bat. Tim Hudson is coming in and being the number 4 starter. If he can go under 4 ERA, he's going to replace a few wins off the bat. You'd go 6, 7, 8 wins right there, and you're already back over to 500. You get the addition of Michael Morse and everything like that. I mean, the pieces are there. The pieces are there. This team is not much different from 2010 and 2012. It's the same feeling, the same chemistry, the same parts. And in fact, on paper, I think they actually have better parts this year.
I agree.
Those 2 under 4, it's a lock.
I fully agree with that. Ben, finish us off strong, buddy.
All right. So I think that with all the speculation and the way that everybody keeps kind of acting like Mike Morse is not necessarily the answer we wanted in left field, that he's just going to get really angry about it, and that he's going to do one of the following. He's either going to get really mad and hit 40,000 home runs this year, or he's just going to destroy the universe.
Seems plausible. 40,000, that sounds like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or he's just going to destroy the universe.
So Michael Morse is doomsday, is what you're saying. Huh?
Well, maybe if we stop insulting him all the time, we'll be okay. But
I love.
You can't just go from one insectoid alien overlord to you gotta treat all of them equally, because they have egos and they get upset.
He can actually have more at bats than an entire team has over a year. That's awesome.
That's pretty amazing.
Good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all you have to do is get angry enough to change the rules of baseball to fit you, and you're.
Well, he's also, he's rocking like the slicked back mullet kind of look, which I think, like the curly hair in the back, but then slicked back in the front type of thing, which I think is just a really strong look, and that's going to give us like at least 3 or 4 more wins above replacement than.
I think it's just he's going to show up, and the umpires are just going to go, "Yep."
They're going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to give this one to the Giants.
Let's just go home.
I think based on
Michael
Morse and his hair,
I double parked.
Give this one to the Giants.
I actually triple parked today, and
yeah,
umpire salary, can't afford a ticket, gotta go.
I agree with both of you guys, by the way, that Timmy's and Michael Morse are some big factors in how the Giants do this year. So we're gonna watch them throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah,
and we're looking forward to podcasting and bringing you guys TortureCast more consistently than we have been for the rest of the season, and it's exciting to finally do another episode again. So
it's good to be back.
Thank you guys for being here with me. And,
man, I can smell the fresh cut grass right now.
I know, right? I'm looking forward to
close your window, man. It's been raining.
I'm looking forward to actually standing on the field and watching those guys hit BP pretty soon, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So again, I want to thank everybody for listening to the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. I want to say, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow all of us collectively at TortureCast. You can follow each one of us individually. Chad is at ChadK21, Ben is at Fried Duck, and I am at Willie Dills. And of course, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on our actual blog, which is torturecast.com. And please, tweet at us, hang out with us, talk to us. We'd love to hear from you guys. We're looking forward to a good 2014 from the San Francisco Giants. Our boys, they're going to bring it home this year. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next time on the TortureCast. A boom.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.